all of it, if you add all of it up, number one, the NFL's hard. Number two, it's one of the perennially good defensive teams in football. You've been gone for a week. Your best running back's gone, didn't even play. No ETN, really good defensive team, back and forth game. If you look at all that's why it's storybook. It had didn't it? If you're writing a story, it had every part of it, man. It ended perfectly. It would not have been as good if you kicked the extra point and win in overtime. It just wouldn't have felt the same, would it? It would not have felt the same if you'd have run it in for the touchdown.
At what point did you realize the kick was short? Because where you are in the stadium is very different from where I am in the stadium.
I was very nervous when he kicked it. Okay. Number one, because he never misses anything.
Right.
And he's, 65 field goals in a row in the fourth quarter overtime? Did you realize that?
Yeah, it's unbelievable. And he was making them from 70 to that end in warm-up.
And he looked confident. I didn't like it. When it was in the air, Lauren, to your question, when he hit it, I worried. I think, and again, we have a monitor that we can watch from behind, because field goals is hard to tell from the side, but I wanted to watch that one. I wasn't watching the monitor. I wanted to watch the kick. And I think probably when it got to the 10-yard line, what do you think? Maybe when could you start telling about the 10-yard line, goal line, something? I said, he's going to miss it, okay? And you have to understand, I'm sure I was hoarse by then. I'd already lost my mind twice, and I thought, I got to lose my mind again because he's going to miss the kick. So right about then is what I thought he would. And I will say this, I cannot tell you I was confident that they were going to score the touchdown there. I cannot tell you I was confident that they were going to get the 2-point conversion. I'm glad they did. I wasn't thinking they weren't going to. I just didn't know.
Well, during the whole review, Riley Patterson was on the field, so I kept thinking Doug was going to just kick it.
I heard Jeff and Dan ask Tony that this morning, and he described it perfectly. We were talking about Riley Patterson on the field. They didn't change till the end, but I wasn't confident or not confident about the touchdown or the 2-point conversion. Somehow I didn't think he was going to make the 65-yard or 66-yard, 67, whatever it was. Somehow I said, you know what? This wouldn't be right if he made this. It just sometimes right wins out, right? Sometimes I did not think do you think he was going to make it? What did you think?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. Most people, common sense would say he always makes it, and every year the field goals get longer and longer, right?
Yeah.
I thought he was going to miss it.
There was enough of a breeze yesterday that I thought that was going for, because it was against him. The win was against him. So I thought that was going for it. Where I am was right when you could tell. I'm about the 15-yard line. Yeah. That's about right when you could tell. Yeah. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's short. They're going to win this ball game.
Yeah. And you were thinking about the win. I was thinking about the karma.
Sure.
I just felt myself. But I will tell you, if you look at everything that game, it was perfect. It was better that it went the way it did than if they control the game and win 24-10, even though ultimately you want to get to where you're the team that controls the game and wins 24-10. But this was better that it went like this. This was better. And Hayes, I thought your column on 1010XL.com was perfect.
Oh, thanks.
Enjoy this because this was his coming out. This is what he did. And one other thing that's really important to point out, and I'm sure we have. I know Tony pointed it out today. We pointed it out on our broadcast. Zay Jones catching that 2-point conversion, that was a fastball, man. That was a high, hard one. If you go back and watch that again, watch the velocity on that thing. And if he doesn't catch it, everyone says, well, Trevor should have put it on him. It was overthrown. It was too far in front, right? That's what we're all saying today. It was high, hard one, and he caught that thing in his hands. And that was a great – obviously Marvin Jones Jr. made a great catch. But that catch by Zay Jones in the corner of the end zone, that was big time. So I'm still kind of jacked up, Carlyon.
I am too.
That was such a great
win. I'm ready to get on a plane and go to Detroit today.
Yeah, and I will tell you, I don't know how many games they're winning of these last 6, but it will be a different team that goes and plays those games. It will be. I'm telling you, it will be there's a different feeling. There's something. The light goes on. That doesn't mean they're winning. I don't know if they're going to win. Look, it's still a hard schedule. Detroit's won 3 in a row until almost beating the Bills in a wonderful game on Thanksgiving in a short week. And they've had a long week. That's going to be a hard game. Then you got to go to Nashville. This team never plays well in Nashville, never plays well against the Titans. And then you play the Cowboys, who may be one of the best 3 or 4 teams in the league. It's a hard we talked about it as a hard 4. Well, they won the first one. Okay, so it's a hard 3, but we'll see what winds up happening. So, I'm excited. Let's do this. We're here. I'm excited. We'll take a break. We got a lot of things to talk about today on the program, but it's going to be mostly Jaguars. We'll talk Florida FSU. We'll talk about some other stuff, the college weekend, the carousel, the playoff, and all that. But let's start with an awful lot of Jaguar talk because it's one of the best wins, certainly one of the best wins since I've called the games. This has been 9 years, and certainly since 1010XL has had this relationship with the Jags, one of the best wins they've ever had. So it's great stuff. We'll talk about that and a whole lot more. Glad you're with us on a Big Chief Tire Monday, 1010XL 92.5 FM.